In today's episode, we're gonna head over to the district of Seville, a neighborhood in the southeastern part of Los Santos, San Andreas. But before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, let me introduce you to the Seville Boulevard Families. Seville Boulevard started sometime during the rise of the notorious hood, Grove Street. Seville would start off claiming Grove Street until they decided they wanted their own identity, which led to them forming the Seville Boulevard Gang under the family's umbrella, which is supported by this audio.
I don't like this, man. Look at all them other family hoods. They used to be Grove Streets.
The Seville Boulevard families wanted more turf, so they would spread off towards the southeastern part of the city, landing in Willowsfield. This area is very wide and can be described as a low-income district with high crime rate, along with rundown single-story houses and housing projects. Both of these areas have a high Hispanic and Latino population, which makes sense due to the Hispanic culture around them, such as the graffiti and the lolos. Even the word Playa del Seville can be translated into the beach of Seville. And you're probably thinking, Seville must be home of the Vagos as well, right? Well, to answer that simply, no. You see, north of Playa del Seville lays East Beach. This is where the Los Santos Vagos will rule. Due to the proximity of their turf, the two gangs will bump heads often, running into each other and flashing up gang signs, until Seville will also bump heads with their rival in Willowfield, beefing with the Kilo Tre Ballas. But the craziest thing about this is that the Ballas and Vagos aren't even their only rivals. They will also beef with the Grove Street families. Yes, I said Grove Street families. This is Seville versus everyone. But before we get into it, let me run the intro. To understand this beef, we have to take it back to the early stages of the family's alliance, which could have started sometime between the later 60s or early 70s. The Orange Grove Street gang was looking to expand, so they could take on their rivals, the Ballas. This would lead them to Playa del Seville, quickly turning the African American men into Orange Grove gangsters. But due to them being a little ways from Grove Street, they decided to form their own identity, flying a darker green color unlike their counterparts. This separation led to the family's alliance. But sometime before 1992, crack hit the streets of Los Santos, affecting low-income areas. The Grove Street families were against this and wanted no parts in it. However, Seville felt differently and began selling and using it, which led to an argument amongst the family said. It's unknown what happened, but for whatever reason, Seville would wrong Temple, which led to Temple wronging the Grove. And you know what they say, bad blood leads to bad blood. But it wouldn't stop there. The Seville Boulevard gang would get word about the leader of Grove Street, Sean Sweet Johnson, heading over to the Seville Boulevard Flats, which is an apartment building located in Seville. He was over there trying to smash a girl, which was a bad idea, because several members of Seville would then corner the couple and open fire on them, keeping them imprisoned within the apartment walls. But luckily for OG Sweet, his brother Carl Johnson would pull up, saving him. And during this process, he would kill several members of Seville. This beef just got worse from there, with family members setting each other up, wall banging, and having full-out shootouts amongst each other. And I kinda think that it's funny that Grove Street started as Orange Grove Street, and then moved their presence to Seville, which is also another type of orange, also known as the bitter orange. But let's get back to the subject. The downfall of the families was into play, and like I said, the family sets were beefing amongst each other. But despite the beef, OG Grove Street members would end up going over to Willowfield to practice shooting with a throwaway, which they got from an old head named Emmett. Emmett is the OG from Seville Boulevard, living through the change and transition to Seville. Emmett may even be the leader of the Willowfield Seville due to his age, home, and respect level. It is also believed that LB could also be the leader of Playa del Seville due to his relationship with high-ranking member Ryder. and he will also own multiple garages around Los Santos. LB will be known for specializing in home robberies and knowing the best spots to hit a lick. During the Families on Families violence, the two sets would go on these missions. And since these missions were into play, the families got stronger, which benefited all the family sets, making the families money and supplying them with the firepower to take on their rivals. Things started to seem like it was going back to normal. So we thought. Sometime during 1992, all the family sets would decide to link up at the Jefferson Motel, which doesn't really make sense due to the motel being surrounded by the Vagos and the Ballas, but I guess whatever. Each set would have one representative of the gang enter the motel to discuss family's business. But before you knew it, the LSPD would enter with SWAT, trying to arrest and kill as many family members as possible. During this event, the Grove Street families would get out, but would be shortly chased by the LSPD, causing them to put the pedal to the metal. Luckily for the Grove Street families, Seville Boulevard member Emmett would give them an AK-47 sometime during the meetup, which could have been where the Grove Street members Ryder and Big Smoke went to moments after the ambush. And although the meetup didn't go as planned, the families would reunite, taking on everyone in the city. Well, that does it for today's episode. Be sure to hit that sub button and leave a like on the video. This is your boy, LS Central. Check in, out.